Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Before we really get going with tonight's meeting, just want to have a moment of silence for recent passing of a longtime planning board chair, David Wylock. He was the chair of the planning board for over a decade, best we can figure out. And when I was town supervisor, he was definitely a big help for me, and I know he helped shepherd a lot of things through the planning board during his time, and I think most people here served with him, one capacity or another. So just a moment for David Wylock, please. Okay, thank you. All right. We need to approve the minutes from the last two meetings. So our meeting on May 4th, 4 weeks ago. Call meeting in order. We had old business for the Red List Private Family Cemetery, and then a public hearing on Wingdale Solar. And then close that public hearing. That was for really the Wingdale Solar. Sorry, and then Lake Ellis Country Inn. We discussed that, and then the amended Sherman Hill development, and then Double JK accessory apartment. Then we adjourn the meeting. All right, motion to accept the minutes. Motion made by
So moved.
Member Lobadier.
Second.
By Member Palmer. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of accepting the minutes from May 4th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with one absence. All right, and then our meeting from May 18th. We had a public hearing on the amended Sherman Hill development, and then that was continued until tonight. And then we had a resolution to adopt the final scoping document for the DEIS for the proposed Wingdale Solar project. That passed. And then we had a discussion and a resolution to classify the action for the Garofalo accessory apartment. And this says motion to set a public hearing for June 18th. It should be June
June 15th.
15th, right?
I'll fix it.
All right, so that's June 15th. It'll get fixed. And then Lake Ellis Country Inn, and resolution classifying the action, declaring intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated review. That motion passed. And again, to set a public hearing for the 15th. Then we adjourn the meeting. All right, I'm on a motion to accept the minutes with that one amendment that will be made by the secretary. Motion made by Member Villano, seconded
Second.
by Member Palmer. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with one absence. All right. Okay, so next we are going to continue the public hearing for the amended Sherman Hill subdivision. the applicant like to come up and say a few words before we continue?
Hello, board. If it's okay, can we swap with the other public hearing just because Peter's not here yet? And usually,
Sure.
so.
All right. If we could have the Garofalo accessory apartment folks come up. Okay. Okay, good evening.
Hi.
Okay, so where do we stand now? We've looked this over. I'm not sure what,
Chairman,
Yeah.
we did receive an updated site plan
right, just before the meeting.
and, or this evening,
Right,
and I did give it to the consultants.
okay. But they just received it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, so,
Last meeting you set a hearing.
it was for tonight, right? Not the 15th. So, all right, I don't know what then is new that we can really review
I
tonight.
think there's a couple things they wanted that we gave to them, as far as just a couple things that had to be fixed.
Yeah,
Right,
and I can talk about that because
Okay.
there's one other item that I noticed that we just need to correct.
so this would then be the old site plan.
Yeah, but actually, so what the two edits that we asked for from the last round of comments were to have the right minimum acreage down for the zoning district and also just indicate that there's nothing greater than 35 feet proposed for height.
Mhm.
Because originally their zoning table said greater than 35 feet for proposed, which we don't want that to be shown or else
Right.
they're not zoning compliant.
Right.
So that was corrected. And the other thing that we asked was for the minimum acreage to be corrected. Mistakenly, we're looking at the RU district. This is the RC. So what they had in there is actually correct for the minimum acreage of 5. And that wasn't changed on their update. So I think we're okay.
Okay.
I think we just want that to say RC rather than RU.
Acreage.
Not a big deal, but that could be fixed pretty quickly.
Okay.
We probably need a signature block for the site plan too, because it's attached to the special permit. So once that RC is changed on the zoning district, I think we'll be good to have that signed, and that's the only condition would be changing RU to RC in the zoning table, and then they can sign it, and you can sign it.
Okay.
That was the extent of our comments. Everything else has been
Right.
addressed.
And this memo was from the last meeting, so
Yeah,
Okay.
there's another folder for this meeting.
another folder. Okay.
There should be another one dated May 29th.
Oh, there it
I
is.
didn't do it yet.
Okay.
I'll do it after.
Outside of the folder.
Condition of health permit stamped.
They already have approval. They had a letter from the health department approving the plan, yeah.
Okay, so
So you're looking
anything
at the
further from your
529 version?
memo? What?
Yeah, is that the May 29th memo?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was really just comments 6 and 8 that were the outstanding things. And one of them is actually not applicable, so it's really just, it was a matter of getting the height corrected in the zoning table, and they've done that.
Okay.
And they did show the dimensions of the apartment correctly, so no other comments.
Right,
What they're
'cause
gonna
there
have
was-
is, they have a
yeah.
survey and they have a site plan, and together they're gonna just be called the site plan set. Because the survey should show existing conditions, then what's proposed can be its own exhibit, and that's what they did.
And it was only on the Board of Health submission that the building had like the wrong shape or something? It wasn't on the actual
I
submission
think,
for
yeah,
us?
yes, and they have an approval from the Department of Health that they gave us
Right.
a couple meetings ago.
All right. So we just received the updated information there, so you'll have to look that over and then
I've looked at it. I think it's,
It's, you think
yeah,
this
yeah.
is fine. Okay.
and Victoria has a resolution prepared, so I think
Yeah.
what we could do is probably just edit it.
Okay.
On the fly,
Well,
if you want.
Have the public hearing
just
first.
read the conditions and, well, let's see what it says.
We'll figure it out. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add or?
No.
Okay. So if you'll have a seat, we'll start the public hearing. I don't think anybody's signed up, but no one for either of them. Neither. Okay. All right. So motion to open the public hearing for Garofalo accessory apartment.
So moved.
Motion made by Member Labadier, seconded by Member Palmer. All those in favor of opening this public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is now open. Any members of the public wishing to speak regarding the Garofalo accessory apartment, please come to the podium at this time. Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, I'll need a motion to, I'm going to go with close this public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Member Palmer, seconded
Second.
by Member Williams. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of closing public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Public hearing is now closed. Right. Like to come back up? It goes that way sometimes. Okay. All right, so we have this resolution to grant approval. Are we saying we need to,
So the conditions at the end of the resolution.
Yep.
One was revision of the site plan to correctly label the dimensions of the proposed addition. That's done now,
that's happened?
so that can be eliminated.
Okay.
But then revision of the site plan to amend the zoning table to correct the minimum lot size.
We just need it to be
So
cor-
just
2
say to
acres.
correct the zoning district.
So revision of the site plan to amend the zoning table,
To correct the zoning district.
correct the
They have the
zoning
wrong
district.
zoning district listed, which is why the numbers weren't
Gotcha.
matching.
And the heights also, the height's fine, or?
It's been
Heights
fixed.
now fixed.
Yeah.
And so in order to
District.
do that, if you can go up, we just want to
Change
reference
the,
the new revision date, so we're clear.
and any reference to the RU zone should be fixed as
Where it
well.
says-
'Cause here it says RC.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
fine
where
then.
it says, it is RC, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
RC.
Where it says in the paragraph, last revised April 7th, 2026, it should now say last revised May 26th, 2026. There you go.
Okay.
And that will now, this would be what you're approving with that one condition.
So right now it says RU, it needs to say RC. Okay,
That's it.
okay.
And then signature blocks as well.
Signature block.
Yeah, I mean, we can make that a condition if you'd like.
Well, that's just normal, right?
Yeah,
So
it-
have a-
Revision of the site plan to include
Amend the zoning table to correct zoning district.
Yep.
And
What is a signature? What is
Applicant
that?
and planning board signatures.
add,
and
Don't-
add applicant and planning board signature blocks.
So there'll be 2 signature lines, one for you as the applicant to sign,
Okay.
and then the chairman will sign. And then that's what you can use to get your permits with the building department.
we
Signing
have-
it shows that it's the approved
Okay.
plan set, because, we have a lot of versions
Sure.
floating around, so the signature indicates this is the
How long?
final.
Do we have to do that? Like, is that quick? Like-
Yeah, your engineer should be able to add it to it. It's
Now, what
No,
should-
I mean like for him to sign it, like when can we bring it to have it signed?
anytime, right?
Anytime.
once the payment of all fees and escrows takes place, like, once all the conditions are met,
Mhm.
then me signing it,
Okay,
presuming obviously the planning board approves it tonight, me signing it then is the last step. And then
Okay.
you take that to the building department, you say, I have a sign, they'll tell you what to do.
okay.
Okay, so revision of the site plan to amend the zoning table to correct the zoning district and add applicant and planning board signature blocks. Yes? Okay. All right, so resolution to grant approval, Garofalo accessory apartment, whereas the applicants Tiffany and Joe Garofalo have submitted an application for a minor special use permit with site plan approval to permit the construction of a 320 square foot addition to an existing garage and conversion of that space into a 800 square foot single bedroom accessory apartment known as a project. Property located at 47 Cedarberry Lane, Dover Plains, identified as tax parcel number 7063-00-014690 in the RC zoning district, known as the property. And whereas the existing and proposed conditions of the property as they relate to the project are depicted on both a survey entitled Survey Map Prepared for Garofalo and a site plan entitled Site Plan Prepared for Garofalo, both dated January 9, 2026, last revised May 26, 2026, and prepared by Blind Houston, Inc., 2 sheets collectively referred to as the site plan. And whereas an accessory apartment is permitted subject to issuance of a special use permit in the RC zoning district, and whereas pursuant to section 145-12C of the Town of Dover zoning law, one accessory apartment per single-family dwelling may be located in an accessory structure or principal building, and the accessory apartment shall not be counted as a residential unit for purposes of determining density. And whereas pursuant to section 37-5A, subsection 2 of the Town of Dover Code, the requirement for Architectural Review Board approval does not apply to single-family or two-family residences or residential accessory structures. And whereas pursuant to section 145-12C of the Town of Dover zoning law, no special permit shall be granted for an accessory apartment without approval or certification from the Dutchess County Department of Health on the adequacy of the wastewater disposal system. And whereas by letter dated April 16, 2026, the Dutchess County Department of Health issued approval of the wastewater disposal system. And whereas on May 18, 2026, the Planning Board classified the project as a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing was held on June 1, 2026, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the project is a minor project pursuant to section 145-63A of the Town of Dover zoning law, which is presumed to be acceptable, and the Planning Board hereby finds that none of the criteria in section 145-63B of the zoning law will be violated by the project. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants site plan and special use permit approval to the project as shown on the site plan and authorizes the chair or his authorized designee to sign the site plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees and escrows. 2, revision of the site plan to amend the zoning table to correct the zoning district and add applicant and planning board signature blocks. This resolution is being offered by
So moved.
Member Palmer, seconded by
Second.
Member Villano. Discussion? Okay. Seeing no discussion. Resolution to grant approval, Garofalo accessory apartment. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Villano?
Aye.
Member Palmer?
Aye.
Member LaRobertier? Aye. Chairman Courtine?
Aye. The resolution is adopted 5-0 with 1 absence. Congratulations. So if you just take care of those 2 conditions and then resubmit it to Planning Secretary, then you'll be on your way. Okay. Thank you. All right. Secretary Van Millen, I did save the document since it was changed.
Just say it.
There we go. All right. Next, we have Sherman Hill. Sorry, let me get rid of this other stuff. Next, we have the amended Sherman Hill development. We're going to continue the public hearing from last time. If you'd like to, we're waiting on your consultant. Your consultant is not here. What would you like to?
Might as well continue.
Okay.
Give it a shot. So, Michael Orfisi, here with Sherman Hill Development. We're seeking to take the existing Sherman Hill development, add additional apartments in the existing buildings. That's what we're seeking, a special permit for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Planner Werner?
Thank you. Yeah, all of our comments were addressed. I know we spoke a lot about the parking at the last meeting. The applicant was saying that the observations made by the fire department were not on the lots that are subject to this amended special permit. The parking is meeting code currently with what they're proposing. We recommended that the seeker determination from the original project can be reaffirmed for this application. There's not that much changing. And let me see, the only thing that was really outstanding was a finding from the building department on the sprinkler issue.
Right.
Whether that's going to change anything on the plans. But otherwise, I think the attorney's been put together a resolution for your consideration. Assuming that the hearing can be closed, that can be discussed.
Okay. Thank you. Engineer Berger, anything to add?
Yeah, just follow up on the parking. I've been there half a dozen times, and I concur the other lots are always full, but the two parking lots for these two lots are not. There's a distinct difference between the cars there. So I've observed that there's at least 3 to 4 spaces open each time I've been there, and I've been there at least 6 times.
Different days, different hours.
Sometimes in the morning as I'm driving by, afternoon. It's been Friday night and on Saturday. So it's been multiple different times. On the sprinkler system, if the Don will be taking care of that during building permit. If there is a requirement for a sprinkler, they can provide it inside the building, which would be a building permit issue. If they have to do something external, they'll just have to come back to us, I think.
Right.
But more likely than not, if Don determines it's needed, it'll be a condition of his building permit and it'll have to be put inside, which is what they typically do for something on this. So I just wanted to point that out.
So if it's required, you're saying it's small enough that it should be
Yes.
able to be located within the building?
Yes,
Okay,
for residential.
sure.
If these are commercial, the requirements for commercial versus residential, the volume is huge difference.
And would almost certainly require an external.
If it was
Tank.
commercial, it'd probably be an outside, but being
Right.
residential, the requirement is less and smaller tanks, and they make specific sprinkler tanks for residential units that go inside.
Right. Okay. Attorney, thank you, Engineer Berger. Attorney Polidoro?
So I think there's, the two issues that were remaining is the parking adequate? Adding the 4 apartments or
Well,
4 apartments.
yeah.
There could be different makeup of residents as time goes on, so you want to make sure you're comfortable with that. And then the sprinklers, and what we did in the resolution was we just added language at the end to make it clear that if there are any external modifications needed in order to incorporate any building code requirements, that they have to come back for approval, if you're comfortable moving forward tonight.
Right. So again, whether the building needs sprinklers or not, you're saying is a building department code decision. It's that if, as Engineer Berger was saying, if they have to somehow change how the plan looks in terms of having a tank outside, then they have to come back to the planning board.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then this would also, this approval would rectify that the sidewalks that are there shouldn't have been put in, but they are there, and it would make sense that they would be there since it's already a laundry room for the apartments above. Okay. All right. All right, any members of the planning board have any comments, questions before we started?
Have you followed up with Mr. Anderson about the sprinkler system?
I sent it my code review, he reviewed it, came back and he wants a third-party opinion. And we discussed that, and Rennie Engineering is doing a complete in-depth code review and putting a package together, so.
Okay.
It kind of sits right now that
And that's going to be part of your building permit application.
Yes.
So that's what would typically be done on a building permit, a code review.
Thank you.
Anything further? Okay.
Nothing.
Member Valano, Member Robadier?
No.
No? Okay. All right, we're here to continue the public hearing, so if you could have a seat. All right. All right, amended Sherman Hill Development. Need a motion to continue the public hearing. Motion made by Member Valano, seconded by
Second.
Member Williams. All those in favor of continuing the public hearing, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, that motion passes 5-0 with one absence. This public hearing is now continued. Any members of the public wishing to speak at this amended Sherman Hill Development public hearing, please come to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one approaching the podium, this is the second time we've had a public hearing, or, the second, time of a public hearing for this. Need a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn, to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Member Williams, seconded by Member Palmer to close this public hearing. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of closing this public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Okay, this public hearing is now closed. Excuse me. Okay. So we have this resolution to consider. All right. Attorney Polidoro, if you just want to walk us through this.
Sure. So the first part of the resolution talks about the proposal, which is for the new units, but it does go back and it talks about what happened previously with the prior application.
The approval in October of '24.
Yeah. So it goes through the code now saying we're only amending it on these 2 lots instead of the 4 lots, that there's no disturbance proposed with this because everything's been constructed already. It refers to the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company letter that you've received it. So the first part is that you're reaffirming the negative declaration that you adopted in 2024, since the impacts, since there's no new construction.
Right.
It's
It's all contained within an existing
Yeah,
building.
it's all contained within an
and-
existing building,
okay.
so that's the first, therefore be it resolved. The next resolution clause is that a proper case exists for park or parks and that he's not providing the parkland on the property. So they're gonna have to pay a recreation fee of $16,000 before the set is signed for the new apartments.
It's 4 units and $4,000 per
each.
unit.
Times 4.
Okay.
The next section is that it's a minor project and that it meets the minor criteria. Now, if you want, we can modify that and we can go explicitly through each of the findings if the board wanted to do that. Otherwise, it's just a blanket statement that it's consistent with the criteria. And then lastly, you're granting special permit, site plan, and architectural review board approval. I think, there's a walkway and maybe a door change to the amended project.
Okay.
Lastly, it says if the code enforcement officer determines that sprinklers or other physical improvements are required pursuant to the uniform code or applicable building code, and such improvements require exterior alterations or new ground disturbance to the amended project site, the applicant shall return to the planning board for amended site plan approval. So he's taking the risk that he'll have to come back if it doesn't work out with the building inspector.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion on this
No.
project? Okay. Resolution reaffirming prior secret determination of significance and granting amended site plan, special use permit and architectural review board approval, Sherman Hill Road, multifamily. Whereas on October 7, 2024, the Town of Dover Planning Board granted special use site plan and erosion sediment control permit approval to construct 8 two-family residential structures, encompassing a total of 16,320 square feet on 4 existing lots covering 8.6 acres, known as the 2024 project, located on Sherman Hill Road, Dover, New York, 12522, and known as tax parcel numbers 132-600-762-00-664-533, 132-600-762-00-660-512, 132-600-760-00-682-2496, and 132-600-706-2-00-658-497 within the RU zoning district and the floodplain, stream corridor, and aquifer overlay districts, known as the collectively known as the 2024 project site. And whereas on October 7, 2024, the planning board determined that there were no significant potential significant adverse environmental impacts related to the 2024 project and adopted a negative declaration pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA. And whereas the applicant MCC Holdings LLC has submitted an application for amendment of a special use permit approval to convert 4 existing two-family dwellings with a total of 8 dwelling units on 2 existing lots into multifamily dwellings with a total of 12 dwelling units, collectively known as the amended project, identified as tax lot number 7062-00-664. There's a number missing. 664533. Those 2 3s.
There's 2 3s.
And 660512, known as the amended project site. And whereas the referenced conversion will involve the basement level of each of the 4 existing structures being utilized as a 1-bedroom apartment, and whereas multifamily dwellings are a permitted use in the RU district subject to special use permit approval, and whereas pursuant to section 37-3 of the Town of Dover Code, the planning board has full authority and power to approve architectural plans and elevations submitted by the applicant in the absence of a quorum of the architectural review board, and whereas the 2 lots constituting the amended project site were created as part of the River Valley Estates Flexible Subdivision, filed map 11728, on which the amended project site is depicted as lots 14 and 15. And whereas the applicant for the 2024 project had previously provided calculations indicating that the River Valley Estates Flexible Subdivision would have been entitled to 45 units, although only 20 lots were created, and is seeking to apply a portion of the remaining density to the project. And whereas all work proposed under the erosion sediment control permit for the 2024 project has been completed with no further grading or site disturbance work proposed, and whereas the amended project is depicted on a plan entitled Amended Sherman Hill Development Lot 14 and 15 Multifamily Dwellings, prepared by Rennie Engineering Design, PLLC, sheet 1 of 1, dated March 18, 2026, known as the amended site plan. And whereas the applicant has submitted a short environmental assessment form, or EAF, for the amended project dated March 18, 2026, pursuant to SECRA. And whereas on April 20, 2026, the planning board classified the amended project as an unlisted action under SECRA and determined to conduct a coordinated review to which no other agency objected. And whereas the amended project was referred to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which responded on April 28, 2026, that it was a matter of local concern. And whereas the planning board has reviewed the EAF and application materials, thoroughly analyzed all information regarding relevant areas of environmental concern, and considered the criteria contained in 6 NYC RR Section 617.7. And whereas pursuant to Section 145-65D subsection 4, before the planning board may approve any site plan containing residential units, such site plan shall show, when required by the planning board, a park suitably located for playground or other recreational purposes. And whereas there has been no significant changes between the 2024 project and the amended project or the surrounding area that would result in any new or unevaluated potentially significant adverse impacts. And whereas the planning board and applicant have yet to obtain a determination from the code enforcement officer regarding the potential requirement for fire sprinklers and related equipment as part of the amended project. Whereas the amended project was referred to the J.H. Ketchum Hose Company, which responded with a letter dated May 12, 2026, which identified concerns with the lack of parking on the 2024 project site. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing on the amended project was open on May 18, 2026, and closed on June 1, 2026, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby reaffirms a negative declaration adopted on October 7, 2024, finding that the amended project will not result in any significant adverse impacts and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Be further resolved that the planning board hereby finds that a proper case exists for requiring that a park or parks be suitably located for playgrounds or other recreational purposes within the town, and that a suitable park or parks of adequate size to meet the requirement cannot be properly located on the amended site plan, and in lieu thereof requires that payment to the Town of Dover Recreation Trust Fund in the amount of $16,000 be made prior to the signing of the amended site plan set by the planning board chair. Be further resolved that the project is a minor project pursuant to section 145-63A of the Town of Dover zoning law, which is presumed to be acceptable. And the planning board hereby finds that none of the criteria in section 145-63B of the zoning law will be violated by the project. Be further resolved that the planning board hereby grants special permit approval, site plan, and architectural review board approval of the amended project as depicted on the amended site plan, and authorizes the planning board chair or his authorized designee to sign the amended site plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees, including the recreation fee and escrow. 2, approval by the Dutchess County Department of Health for the methods of water supply and wastewater disposal. Be further resolved that if the code enforcement officer determines that sprinklers or other physical improvements are required pursuant to the Uniform Code or applicable building code, and such improvements require exterior alterations or new ground disturbance to the amended project site, the applicant shall return to the planning board for amended site plan approval. This resolution is being offered by
So moved.
Member Palmer, seconded by
Second.
Member Williams. Discussion. Okay. Seeing no discussion, resolution reaffirming prior secret determination of significance and granting amended site plan, special use permit, and architectural review board approval, Sherman Hill Road multifamily. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Valano?
Aye.
Member Palmer?
Aye.
Member LaRobidier? Aye. Chairman Courtine?
Aye. Resolution is thereby adopted 5-0 with one absence. Congratulations. So just follow up with Secretary Van Millen. Thank you. All right. All right, and then old business, Red List Private Family Cemetery. Good evening.
At the last meeting, there was some discussion from some of the board members, Kim Garrison from Grant Alliance representing 209 Cricket Hill Road, Jason Redless, we're here for a proposed private family cemetery on a 40 by 80 plot located in the south west corner of the property. At the last meeting, some of the planning board members had suggested having a flat foot or slanted foot headstones as a way of perhaps addressing some of the potential visual concerns. I addressed that with Mr. Redless, and he has consented to those types of headstones. I know following AKRF's recent memo, there was a discussion about a potential resolution being prepared. I did reach out to Ms. Polidoro, who was kind enough to provide a draft. I do have a question on one of the conditions, which I can ask now or ask later when it's up for discussion, but I just wanted to just.
You can ask- You can ask now.
One of the conditions was dealing with the flat systems, and I just wanted the planning board to consider the flat foot stones or the slanted foot stones to provide a little bit of flexibility. I believe those are still going to be very low impact and low in height.
I'm sorry, can you explain what's a flat stone and a slanted stone? I don't know
Sure,
if you
yeah.
read this last time.
So a flat stone is just as it sounds, it's just, and a slanted one is just a slightly raised and a little slanted down. If you Google it, you should be able to see it.
Okay, so what Ms. Garrison is talking about is that we have a proposed condition right now that says revision of the site plan to require the use of flat headstones, and she's asking that that be expanded to allow flat or slant.
Yeah, it was mentioned by, I believe, planning board member Palmer about slanted footstones.
So that's something that we can add in when you get to that section,
Right.
if you agree with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it being slanted would allow for water to run off it and not sit on it. I don't know what the,
I mean, flat is easy because flat is flat, I know what that
Sure.
means. But slanted, if it's, is there a height restriction to be a slanted headstone?
I mean, when I Googled it, just to kind of, because that was a term that was used at the planning board,
Mhm.
when I Googled it, it seemed it was a fairly understood term.
Okay,
There's like the upright, which is kind of like what you would see normally about this high, slanted probably about this high.
Pretty, yeah, I would think.
Right, I think the
Flat.
point was that it would be low profile, however low the profile would be, I guess, but
okay.
I don't know that. I mean, I guess you could have a slanted headstone that's 6 feet tall and just slanted, but,
Yes.
Well,
so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you do a quick search on stones, that's not what comes up. It's not 6 foot, it's low profile.
Sure. Okay.
We can talk about that.
We've also prepared another screening proposal from Nan Stoltenberg. Again, if the board so wishes to have the screening, we can use that as guidance. Again, I know that there was some concern if screening would be necessary with the flat stones or the slanted stones, so we're fine either way. We prefer no screening, just to kind of keep it more open, but we have provided guidance documents that was deemed acceptable by AKRF in their memo.
Okay, well, let's, I guess we can get to the AKRF memo.
Well, we should probably start with the Stoltenberg memo. Right.
Yeah, I talk about it. That's the
Okay.
only new comment I have, so.
Just give me a moment here. Okay.
Yeah, so really, comment 2 has been updated. If you keep scrolling down, it's a long one, but at the bottom of the next page, in bold, is the new information.
Right, about the AI
About the
trees.
memo that was prepared, the planning, the applicant hired a planner, Nan Stolzenberg, of Community Planning and Environmental Associates to assess the screening, and provide some recommendations. I think, seems like she was in agreement with a lot of us that the white pine and, maple approach that they took at the last submission was probably not the best. And she recommends a different type of screening method, like more of a layered approach with like 3 different types of screening, like an understory, some shrubs, and then like a small tree layer, in like a staggered pattern. So it seems like natural. There's a lot of recommendations in there. There's pictures of the species that she's recommending. I think it was well done. I think it's reasonable to have that be the way it goes, but there wasn't a plan showing this in action. So I think, if there's a consideration in any resolution would be that before you sign the plan, that we have a chance to review that and see how they're implementing these recommendations. Otherwise, the other thing was about the footstones and the slanted headstones. our recommendation is that in combination with the screening, that also be utilized by the applicant here.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, we have, if you want to scroll down to comment 11 was on seeker. Everything that's italicized has been
Yeah.
addressed. So the new information is, there's no change to the previous SHPO determination. The applicant is not proposing to move anything. So the opinion of SHPO OPRHP remains. And, you know, like I said, the consulting planner that the applicant hired has recommended ways to mitigate any kind of visual concerns. So we went ahead and prepared a short EAF Part 2 and a draft negative declaration if you're ready to close the seeker process tonight. So if you can open up that. So this is a short EAF because it's an unlisted action.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the 11 questions that the short form has you look at. And I indicated no or small impact on each one of these. And then there's a draft negative declaration, separate document that goes through, it describes the action, it talks about what was reviewed, and then it goes through the 12 criteria of 617C1 and the seeker regs, which are the different criteria for determining significance. And it has, for some of them, elaborations underneath each one. For others that I didn't feel it was necessary, I left blank, but that's how it was structured. So I have a little blurb about endangered species on number 2, noting that it's not in a CEA for number 3. It's a critical environmental area.
Just give me
For number 4, just noting that this is a permitted use by special permit, so it's not really in material conflict with the community's current plans or goals. Number 5 talks about historic resources and how we have a letter from OPRHP indicating that this proposed location and the action itself should not result in any impacts to historic resources, archaeological resources. 7 is about human health, and we were just based on the review that we've done, the town engineer's done, and the applicant's information that they provided shows that what they're meeting all the requirements of the health department with regard to proximity to water sources. And that was it. The other ones are just, I think they speak for themselves and they're not really applicable to the action, so.
Okay.
So there's also been a resolution put together that
Yeah.
we can discuss further.
Okay.
Well, I did have a question about the timing of the landscaping. If the board, the applicant says they don't want to put the landscaping in necessarily, they prefer not to, but I know that the board was asking for landscaping. So
Right.
if the board goes ahead and makes the landscaping a requirement, is it something that you want planted now so that it can grow and fill in as the years pass? Or is this something that gets triggered down the road one day when there's a burial? I think we just need to be clear on how this is
Well,
going to work.
If there's a burial, then you have the small family cemetery existing without the screening, which could be next year or 50 years from now. The screening goes in now, it's got to be maintained for the next 50 years before someone
Correct.
gets buried in the ground. Like, this is, like, what are we?
And I think we want to be specific because, we don't want to leave it open.
Right. Thoughts?
Thought is that the screening should take place when needed and not before.
I agree.
Okay.
Did he say as needed?
When needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the only thing I would say is.
So like
how
50
would we-
years from now, someone's getting buried there and also someone is planting some shrubs,
Yeah.
trees.
Which will be on a plan set that is approved.
Right.
If we make conditions that they implement the recommendations of the planner, and that's reviewed as our satisfaction, that becomes the set that.
Right.
10, 20, 30.
But it could be 50 and a half years from now and it's winter, so you're not planting any trees in the ground.
That's true as well.
You usually don't bury someone in the
So,
winter either.
I mean, I think. change
People get buried in the
wording.
winter.
Not putting a headstone in either.
Ground is
Yeah.
frozen.
And the landscape is meant to be low to the ground, so it doesn't require a lot of growth.
I already had a headache before I got here.
I know, it's just a question of how, how does it get triggered when,
No, and I appreciate that. That was gonna be a question, because we wanna make sure that we follow whatever conditions are there.
We're all gonna be gone. Like, what are we talking about? Jesus Christ. I,
Is the intention,
someone else to talk, I can't.
is the intention to put perimeter fencing? You have a spot and logistics, perimeter fencing around it?
I believe that some of the planning board members after the site visit weren't keen on that. We're flexible on that, so, I think that's been kind of removed from the plans at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was busy that day. I did
Oh,
not
yeah, no,
get
I
a chance
understand, but I
to
believe
do
that
that.
it's kind of been nixed from the plan at the moment.
Okay,
If there's anything, we can always come back for an amended site plan if a proposed fence is suggested, but I believe it's just gonna be. And we'll
okay,
have
yeah,
to-
I'm just thinking, put a fence to put a pin in the ground, for example,
Yeah, there's
Oh.
pins there.
around that and say, okay, this is our spot,
Mhm.
and then put, a screen in there, whatever species you intend. It's just a thought. I don't know.
So would you prefer a fence or not a fence?
I would say a fence to, this is just me, and I don't think it's in the code or anything, a fence to put around it, say, all right, this is our spot, and then put screening around it, and as time moves on, you're in there, you're in that fixed spot.
Are you saying that there should be a fence that goes up soon, and then that's saying this is the space, and then
Yeah, this is whatever this, I forget what the dimension of the space
Yeah,
is.
40 by 80.
40 by 80.
40 by 80, put a fence around that.
I think the concern that was raised was
My-
that, if this is gonna be, kept in open passive use really until a burial is needed, and if you put a fence there, it's gonna kind of draw more attention to it.
I agree. And
Yeah, no, good point.
And that was one of the concerns raised even with putting screening up, if there's kind
You're
of.
drawing attention to it. I got it. Yep, I got it.
Also won't be maintained, so you're gonna get weeds growing up.
Right. Yeah.
Old farm fences have a tendency of growing lots of weeds.
And one of in terms of the placement of the cemetery area, one of the earlier comments received from Ms. Polidoro was putting deed restrictions and creating a new deed so that those deed restrictions are in the chain of title. We've been working, I provided deed restrictions, Ms. Polidoro provided some edits, which we found mostly acceptable. I do have one comment which I can discuss with Ms. Polidoro offline or here, whatever is appropriate. But included in that deed restrictions would be the site plan once it's approved and signed, which will include where that area is located. So any future owners of the property will also be aware of where that is located as well.
How would you file that?
It would be like a deed from 209 Cricket Hill Road to 209 Cricket Hill
I
Road.
see the deed,
we
but
called
you
it a
don't-
correction deed.
I know that, but you're not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
get the site plan filed with the deed.
It will be an attachment, like a Schedule B.
It'll be so small you won't be able to read it because.
I think we wanted meets and bounds, though.
Yeah, we'll have.
I agree with the meets and bounds, but
Yeah.
the site plan won't be able to do that. I've seen them at the clerk's office. They're reduced down to 8.5 by 14. It's not readable.
So it'll be meets and bounds,
And refer to a map at the town so someone can come here and get it.
Yeah, I was gonna refer
I
to
think
it
that's
by
better.
the planning board,
Okay.
not code word, because the word's coming to my head now, but the index number. for the
We
planning board.
when we get there, we should make sure the planning board engineer also signs off on this, on the form of the restriction,
Mm-hmm.
or deed, whatever we're calling it.
Okay, so Attorney Polidoro, two things. One, it's been brought to the planning board's attention about there already being some sort of deed restrictions for the properties on Cricket Hill. If you could address that, please.
Yes, this did come up. This area appears to be outside of the deed restricted area.
Mm-hmm.
The applicant provided us with a map showing where the deed restriction ended and showing that this was outside of that area.
Okay. And secondly, I still think that it should be moved farther east down the hill, so it borders with the restricted
Conservation easement?
conservation easement. Thank you. As I believe it would provide more of natural screening from neighbors. But I'm just one vote here, so I'm concerned that where it's located, somewhat at the crest of that hill, is in some ways going to still draw some attention to it, and that it could potentially be seen as a private nuisance to the neighbors. So if you could just discuss for us the special permit
Criteria?
criteria, thank you.
Sure, let me just pull it out.
I can bring it up on the screen too.
Oh, yeah, one of the required findings, in order to grant a special use permit, you have to find that each of the criteria is satisfied. And, one is that the project will not result in excessive off-premises noise, dust, odor, solid waste, or glare.
You could just, we're going to chapter 145,
Yeah, it's 14563B.
D3B, right, thank you.
You went past it. Oh,
I did not.
And it's 2.
That 63. There you go. Okay, so this is for a major project, special permit?
So criteria 2, that the project will not result in excessive off-premises noise, dust, odor, solid waste, or glare, or create any public or private nuisances. And so the question that was asked previously is a private cemetery within view of all these neighbors, does it constitute a private nuisance if it's going to reduce their property values or cause concern?
Right,
That was a question you've asked.
it is. So, I'm still of the same opinion. Is there further discussion on this?
I've already voiced my opinion about it. I feel that it's fine the way it is, and with the screening that they're proposing to put up, I don't think there would be any problem with it being a nuisance of any sort.
Any further discussion? Okay,
Chairman, just for the neighbors, I do want to point out that even if this were within the restricted area, that the planning board can't enforce private restrictions on property. You're bound by the zoning law unless it was a restriction required by the planning board. So that's something that neighbors can enforce against each other, but not something
In
the planning
a
board.
civil action.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, well, we have a resolution to grant special use permit and site plan approval, Red List Cemetery. I'll read through this. Whereas 209 Cricket Hill Road LLC, the applicant has submitted an application for a special use permit and site plan approval to establish a private family cemetery encompassing approximately 3,200 square feet on the southwest portion of an existing 8.39 acre lot known as the project, generally located at 209 Cricket Hill Road, Dover, New York 12522, and known as tax parcel number 132-600-7160-00-013-767 within the RU zoning district and the principal aquifer overlay district known as the project site or site. And whereas a cemetery is a permitted use in the RU zoning district subject to site plan and special use permit approval, and whereas the project is depicted on a plan entitled Site Plan Survey Map for proposed private family cemetery / burial plot prepared for 209 Cricket Hill Road LLC, prepared by Wesley P. Chase LLS, dated August 25, 2025, last revised March 22, 2026, known as the site plan. And whereas the applicant submitted a short environmental assessment form, Part 1, dated December 19, 2025, I'm guessing, not in the future.
Yeah.
Last updated February 11, 2026, the EAF, also known as the EAF, pursuant to State Environmental Quality Review Act, also known as SECRA. Whereas on February 2nd, 2026, the planning board classified the project as an unlisted action under SECRA and declared its intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated review of the project, to which no other agency has objected. And whereas on February 2nd, 2026, the project was referred to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which responded on February 9, 2026, that it was a matter of local concern with no comments. And whereas on March 10, 2026, the town's code enforcement officer and building inspector issued a determination of whether a headstone is a structure under the town's zoning code and indicated that a headstone that has frost depth footing may be required to meet setbacks and other applicable requirements. And whereas members of the planning board conducted a site visit of the property on April 18, 2026, and whereas the applicant's planning consultant, Nan Stolzenberg, FAICP of Community Planning Environmental Associates, prepared a memorandum dated May 11, 2026 regarding proposed vegetative screening and recommended a naturalized hedgerow with at least 2 layers, a small tree layer and understory shrub layer, and an optional 3rd layer, an herbaceous / native ground cover edge arranged in a natural grouping. And whereas the project is a minor project as defined in the town of Dover zoning code 145-60, and whereas the planning board has reviewed the EAF and applicable materials, thoroughly analyzed the information regarding relevant areas of environmental concern, both submitted by the applicant and gathered by the board through its consultants and the public, and considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR Section 617.7 and Dover zoning code Section 145-63. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing was opened on March 2nd, 2026, and closed on April 29, 2026, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby adopts a negative declaration for the project, determining that the project as proposed will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts for the reasons indicated in the Notice of Determination of Significance dated June 1, 2026, and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Be it further resolved that the planning board makes the following findings pursuant to Section 145-63B. Project will comply with all land use district, overlay district, and other specific requirements of this chapter and other local laws. regulations and will be consistent with the purposes of this chapter and of land use district in which it is located. A cemetery is permitted use in the district. The proposed headstones will not meet the definition of a structure and will comply with all setbacks for a structure. Definition of a structure or will comply with all setbacks for a structure. Okay. 2, the project will not result in excessive off-premise noise, dust, odors, solid waste, or glare, or create any private or public nuisances. The project will include a naturalized hedgerow for screening the cemetery from neighboring properties. The applicant has demonstrated to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer that cemetery plot meets all requirements of the Dutchess County Health Department related to proximity to public and private wells. 3, the project will not cause significant traffic congestion, impair pedestrian safety, or overload existing roads, considering their current width, surfacing, and condition, and any improvements proposed to be made to them by the applicant. 4, the project will be accessible to fire, police, and other emergency vehicles. 5, the project will not overload any public water, drainage, or sewer system, or any other municipal facility. 6, the project will not materially degrade any watercourse or other natural resource or ecosystem or endanger the water quality of an aquifer. The applicant has demonstrated to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer that cemetery plots meet all requirements of Dutchess County Health Department related to proximity to public and private wells. 7, the project will be suitable for the property on which it is proposed, considering the property's size, location, topography, vegetation, soils, natural habitat, and hydrology, and, if appropriate, its ability to be buffered or screened from neighboring properties and public roads. The project is located at the edge of an agricultural field. The project will include the requirement of a naturalized hedgerow screen. 8, the project will be subject to such conditions on operation, design, and layout of structures and provision of buffer areas as may be necessary to ensure compatibility with surrounding uses and to protect the natural, historic, and scenic resources of the town. 9, the project will be consistent with the goal of concentrating retail uses in hamlets, avoiding strip commercial development, and buffering non-residential uses that are incompatible with residential use. 10, the project will not adversely affect the availability of affordable housing in the town. 11, the project will comply with applicable site plan criteria in the zoning law. 12, the project, if the property is in a residential district, will have no greater overall off-site impact than would full development of the property with uses permitted by right, considering relevant environmental, social, and and economic impacts. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby grants special permit and site plan approval to the project as depicted on the site plan and authorizes the planning board chair to sign the site plan set after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, revision of the site plan to require the use of flat headstones and include a landscaping plan which incorporates the recommendations of the May 11 memorandum from Nan Stolzenberg, FAICP, to the approval of the planning board planning consultant. 3, approval by the attorney to the planning board of a corrective deed for the property which identifies a burial area with a meets and bounds description, a requirement that landscaping and screening be maintained in good condition, and a grant of third-party enforcement rights to the town of Dover, and evidence that the approved deed has been recorded in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk. This resolution is being offered by
Are we making adjustments on that?
Yes.
Okay.
well, we can amend it after it's motioned and seconded. We can do it now.
The board, you want to make it now and then you can motion? Okay. So in item 2, based on the discussion, I would revise the first sentence to say revision of the site plan to require the use of low-profile headstones, including flat and slant.
I'm sorry, where?
Oh,
Or
all
the
the way down. It's
condition.
Oh,
condition
not
2.
number 2, okay.
No,
Under
sorry.
the, yes, in conditions, okay.
Revision
Revision
of
of site plan to require
the use of low-profile headstones,
use of
including flat and slant.
low profile. So just low profile headstones?
Yeah,
Put a height restriction in though.
yeah, because, I mean, if we wanted to get around slant, you just put in a
Not
giant.
to exceed
18 inches was the typical.
18 inches?
Mhm. There you go.
And include a landscaping plan, the rest of it's fine.
Yeah, I would put 2026 after May 11th too, just since we're switching this up.
Most of them are 16 to 18 inches.
And then the question is, I think we also want to add a note that says such landscaping shall be installed, prior to the first burial,
So again,
right?
someone dies and they gotta wait to put in
I know it's going to take a long time.
hedges and then they can bury the person?
You gotta wait for the headstone. Can't put the headstone in
Well,
anyway.
you could bury a person and then put the headstone in later.
Yeah, same thing with the vegetation.
We could say prior to the first headstone.
Prior to placement of headstone, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So where do you want to put this?
So, original design plan to require these. Let's just make a new one. Number 3, revision of the site plan to include a note requiring the landscape,
A note,
landscaping to be installed prior to installation of the first headstone.
okay, so you'll read that again. Revision of the site plan to include a note.
A note requiring the landscaping to be installed prior to installation of the first headstone.
It should be not just site plan, but deed restriction too, right?
Yeah, so then we'll add it to number 4. Says,
Headstone. Revision of the site plan to include a note requiring the landscaping to be installed prior to the installation of the first headstone.
okay. Number 4 is going to say approval by the attorney to the planning board and planning board engineer.
Attorney of the planning board and
Planning board engineer.
planning board. Engineer,
Of a corrective deed for the property which, 1, identifies the burial area with meets and bounds description.
which A identifies.
Then it should be B, includes a requirement that
So A identifies a burial area with a meets and bounds description.
description. B,
B
includes a requirement
includes a requirement.
that landscaping and screening be installed prior to the first headstone.
B,
Oh, yeah, you already put that above. Take it out there.
Nope,
installed-
it's got to be in both places.
On both.
screen- and be installed
Prior to the first installation of the first headstone.
prior to the installation of the first headstone. C,
And then C includes a requirement that landscaping and screening be maintained in good condition. Hold on.
so right now it says C, maintained in good condition, so
Yeah, includes a requirement that landscaping
includes a,
and screening be maintained in good condition, and then D,
includes a requirement that landscaping,
and screening be maintained in good condition,
screening be maintained in good condition.
and then D, grant the third-party enforcement right to the town of Dover.
So not to throw some more mucky in there, I find a lot of these old cemeteries to become very crowded with weeds and trees within the cemetery area itself, and we're only have a condition on the screening to be maintained, not the area of the cemetery itself.
So landscaping and screening be maintained in good condition. Is that what we're saying?
Including burial plots.
Yeah, including the area, burial area.
There's a requirement that the
Including the area.
how about the 40-foot by 80-foot area? Burial area.
Just trying to give Don the proper enforcement ability.
On.
Don, maybe Don the third.
Well, yeah, Don's grandson.
Don
This is requiring the
2.2.
40-foot by 80-foot burial area, areas, landscaping and screening be maintained in good condition.
Okay.
Okay,
One more I thought of too. Do we want to?
why not?
Are we restricting fencing based on the discussion from earlier, or no?
Well, there's no fence.
No fencing.
There's no fence proposed. Okay,
There's
but
no
if
fence shown on
if
the
they
site
wanted-
plan, so
okay, so if they want to add a fence, that they have to come back.
Come back for an amended site plan.
That's it. Nothing else.
Okay,
The grammar's not right on,
I'm sure it's not.
you
So-
have includes everywhere else.
Yes, we want to identify, okay, so approval by the attorney to the planning board and planning board engineer of a corrective deed for the property which A, identifies the burial area with a meets and bounds description. Period. B, includes a requirement that landscaping and screening be installed prior to the installation of the first headstone. C, includes a requirement that the 40-foot by 80-foot burial areas, landscaping and screening be maintained in good condition.
Apostrophe goes
The
after the S.
grants,
Possessive.
It would be grants with an S on it.
D,
say grants third-party enforcement rights.
grants third-party enforcement rights to the town of Dover.
So now you need an E, unfortunately, that says signature applicant and,
So it's red, but grants third-party enforcement rights to the town of Dover
oh yeah, no E. And then
and evidence that.
evidence should just come back out. It's not one of the lettered paragraphs. So I would space it down and then pull it back without a letter, so it's just part of the main paragraph again. There we go. Sure. There you go.
It should be 5, right?
Nope. I mean-
It's evidence of the deed, so
Right.
that includes the.
Property which does all those things. Oh,
Evidence that the approved deed has been recorded. So that should just be letter E.
Well, if you're just, if you delete N, just make it number 5. It's fine. There you go.
Evidence that the approved deed has been recorded in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk. Anything else on this?
Yes.
What else?
Planner Werner just pointed out this one also needs signature blocks.
The number 6?
Yep. Revision of the site plan to include required signature blocks. And just leave it at that.
That'll serve as, when we look at this landscaping plan that they're supposed to put on there, that we can
Mm-hmm. Revision of the site plan
decide.
to include
Required signature blocks.
required signature blocks.
And then we can,
take out the D from include. To include.
To include required.
Anything further?
It's beautiful.
I make a motion, and I'm the first one buried there.
Okay, so, I've read this resolution. Resolution to grant special use permit and site plan approval, Red List Cemetery. Resolution being offered by
So moved.
Member Williams, seconded by
Second.
Member LaRobediere. Discussion. As I've said for a few meetings now, I believe it needs to be put down this needs to be moved eastward down the hill. I believe it will possibly be a private nuisance, and so, which means I can't agree with number 2 And if I can't agree with number 2, then I can't vote for this. So, any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion. Resolution to grant special use permit and site plan approval, Red List Cemetery. Secretary, please call the roll.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Valano?
No.
Member Palmer?
Aye.
Member LaRobertier?
Aye.
Member Chairman Courtine?
No. Before I say what the vote is, would you like to go back to your client?
This is the proposal.
Okay, with that, this resolution fails by a vote of 3 to 2 with 1 absence, as all votes of a 7-member planning board requires 4 votes in the affirmative. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next, we have when our next meetings are. All right, next scheduled meeting is June 15, 2026. The deadline for that has already passed. We have a public hearing. What else do we have?
Lake Ellis.
Lake Ellis.
And we also have the Duhamel stabilization.
Oh, yes, right. That came back. Was that the 6-month DEC sitting on their thumb?
Well, then the ZEC
Nonsense.
wetland regulations went away.
Oh, right.
They addressed, I have to look closer at it, but I think they addressed they had somebody go out from DEC and delineate it. So
Right.
they're gonna need a permit, so they've already committed to it, I think.
But those permits are no longer good, right? Any delineation done?
I think the issue is that.
One on
the
Dual Hollow
wetland-
Road.
The wetland
Duhamel.
that's out there is
We were-
is a DEC wetland.
There's a channel there, and they're going to move the channel.
Oh, was it a DEC wetland already?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Right. Well, it was questionable whether it was close to the buffer or
Yeah,
not.
but it's an existing DEC jurisdictional wetland that DEC went out and delineated again. Somebody from there went out and delineated it again, and it
Okay.
shows that they are gonna be within 100 feet. But they already did cut trees down, which was acceptable to DEC, so I think it's just,
Is that acceptable to us?
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
As long as you don't stumble, yeah.
Right.
I think, yeah, we told them.
I don't still remember. It was
Cut down and
so
left
long
there.
ago.
Our law goes into effect if they stump him, so.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they,
As
I
long as
think
they cut him and left him
they,
in place.
they cut them and left them there while they worked on this issue, and, sounds like they have
Right.
agreement with DEC, so. But I'll
Okay.
look closer at it.
Review, they're gonna need a DEC permit for disturbance of the buffer.
Right. We'll talk about this next time, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a refresher.
It's a refresher.
Yes. No, thank you. It's just been 6 months or whatever, so I don't remember, but thank you. All right. And then we have a meeting on July 6th, the deadline for which is June 17th.
We already have something for that,
All right.
Mr. Rosciano.
Okay. Gotcha.
He's going for a record.
78th.
Probably 27th.
You gonna read all that,
9th,
Brian?
something like
You know I will. All right. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by member Villano. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.